In this tutorial, we're going to use Adobe Illustrator CC 2020 to go through Class Rent a Book, Chapter 7, which is about drawing with the pen tool. This is part 2. We just did the practice, and now we're going to go ahead and start creating this amazing swan picture. So let's go ahead and grab that start file and do a file, save as. Let's do a first initial last name, underscore, Adobe Illustrator, Class Rent a Book, Chapter 7, and we're going to call this one Swan. And save. So for this assignment, you will turn in the practice and you will turn in the swan as well. So let's go ahead, zoom in, let's do a view, fit artboard and window. And for this one, you are going to be making a lot of funky turns. You're going to do play a lot with the pen tool, and it will not be easy. I'm sorry. Go ahead, turn your properties on, and let's switch to that pen tool. Let's make sure your fill is set to none, so we don't accidentally start coloring over. Stroke is black and our point size is 1. So let's go ahead, come down here to our point number 1, and we're going to start down here at A. So as we did in the practice, there are going to be quite a few items where we need to drag and connect, and if it doesn't end up totally perfect, that's okay. We can go back and check and fix some of those items. So let's go ahead with our pen tool and start with A. Oh, we got to make sure we go to our layers and turn on artwork and make sure we're working on that artwork layer so we have a place to draw. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and go to my A, my anchor here on A. I'm going to click and I'm going to create that anchor. Let's go ahead and pull out, and let's jump up here to B and pull up to the gold. And I need to hold my Alt and come down so I can switch directions down to that red dot. And now I'm going to go over here to C and drag up. And I'm going to come over here to D and drag up. And now I know I need to switch to a straight line, so we're going to come down here and convert that with our caret and go straight line straight across to E. Drag up to that red. It's much easier when you've got all these really nice guides. When you're trying to do it on your own, it's a little more challenging. Let's go ahead and grab F and drag. Let's come down here to G and drag down. Mine got a little bit big, that's okay. Alright, we know we need to switch directions to a straight line, so let's go ahead and convert that with our anchor. And come over here, click, let's drag up to the red dot. Let's come down here to the gold dot. And I'm over a little bit on that one too. I'm going to hit Alt, and I want to drag down to that red so I can switch directions just a little bit to come down here to J. And J come down, make kind of that nice S. And this for me is the hardest one, is getting it to, you don't want to totally close the path right now. You don't want it to have that little 0 on it. If you did that, you're going to end up with a really straight line, which you don't necessarily want. So I'm going to undo, and I'm going to go right above or right below where it says intersect and drag on that line that way. So it's pretty close. And I'm going to hit enter and Control plus. We can kind of zoom in and see what we've got so far. So we will go ahead and straighten out part of this line here in a little bit. You can go ahead and fill it with white if you want to, or we can do that at the very end. So we have basically drawn the swan. So let's go ahead and fix a few of the elements that we might not have gotten quite right. So I'm going to grab my directions tool and grab this path here on G, kind of bring it in here a little bit. Maybe grab this one, constrain that just a little bit differently. So I can also see maybe I want to change this just a little bit more. If I go over this path between F and G, you're going to see I get kind of a rounded arrow, and it'll allow me to adjust that whole curve without having to do the points individually. So that's kind of a nice thing to be able to go ahead and do. So let's go ahead and do that to the inside of the neck as well. So let's grab this point and come in here. You get the path. You can kind of intersect those just a little bit differently. So it makes it Relatively nice, easy way to fix that. So the next thing we're going to do is, nope, I'm on the next page. We want to go ahead and edit part of these paths. So another thing we can do is come down here to J, and we can also grab that direct selection tool, and we can just drag the whole thing out, kind of change the shape of its chest a little bit, because it's got an anchor there in the middle. So that's another way to change that kind of that round shape. Alright, let's go ahead and do a Control S and save what we have. So we're going to go ahead and add and delete some anchor points here, because remember we're trying to create this shape in here right now. So we need to fix his tail just a little tiny bit. We've got a few too many anchor points going on. So let's go to Window and Layers and make sure that we are in our, oh, you can go ahead and hide that bird template. So turn that one off, so you can kind of see better what you did. So you can tell my path right here is not quite closed. I could grab the direct selection and bring it up just a little tiny bit so it closes that path a little bit better. And hit Escape and deselect, so it's a little bit more closed than it was before. So let's go ahead with our pen tool and come over. We've got these two kind of feathers here at the end. We don't want to have this feather here, so we're going to go ahead and click on this one, and when it turns into that minus, it's going to go ahead, oh, do I need to select it first? No, we shouldn't have had to. Should just be able to click it and have it remove. Oh, am I on the wrong layer? No, I'm on the right layer. Escape. Alright, so, oh, let's try again. I made a new path, that's what I did. So let's go to the pen tool, go to this path right here, and you should be able to hit delete. Alright, let's try one more time. Let's select the whole dang thing. Alright, let's go to our point here. Now I've got that point. I can hit delete. And nope, that totally didn't do what I wanted it to do. Let's try this one more time. Alright, so if I switch to, I've got my pen tool. If I switch, I should be able to, there we go. Undo, I was on my direct selection instead of my pen. That's what I was doing. So now I've got this really weird shape going on, which I don't necessarily want. So we're going to go ahead and reshape it. So let's go ahead, I can switch to the direct selection tool by hitting Control or Command. And it's going to switch this to direct selection, and I can go ahead and pull that point back out. And if I want to, I can add another point here to this path. So it gives me another point I can kind of pull off of. So I'm going to hit Control, kind of move those points accordingly. I can grab those handles, undo. Go ahead and make sure you're on your direct selection tool. Go ahead and grab the handle and kind of reshape that just a little bit so you're getting a smoother line. Let's go to this guy and select him a little bit differently until you get a tail shape that you are happier with. Alright, I'm happy with that. Let's do a Control S and save what we've got so far. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is convert a couple of these points into corner points. So if you look at the sample, it's sitting on kind of a nice flat bottom. So we're going to create that nice flat bottom here at the bottom. So with our direct selection, we're going to go ahead and grab this path. We're going to grab one. Oh, we need to add one more point. So let's go ahead with our direct selection tool, and we want to, let's go to our pen tool and add one more point right here on our path first. So let's go ahead and create with our pen tool. Grab this, undo. Let's go with our direct selection tool, grab this anchor, and let's shift and grab that anchor as well. If we go in our properties panel, we should be able to convert those into corners. So now we've got a nice corner here, and let's go ahead and make those flat. So it's going to bring that down. So I grabbed the wrong one when I was grabbing my anchor. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this one and convert it to a corner, and I'm going to grab this one and let's make them flat that way. All right, now we've got a nice flat even end for our swan's base. So we need to fix his neck up here. The neck isn't quite what we want it to be. So let's grab our selection tool and grab the entire swan shape. And we're going to go ahead and grab that pen tool. And under the pen, we've got the anchor point tool. It's also used to, move and change different types of direction. So let's go ahead and go to our anchor point right here. And you see how it was going to allow you to change the shape of that neck just a little bit, because we want to expand it to meet kind of the beak a little bit more. So let's grab that anchor and meet the beak just a little bit more on this side. Clearly I can't draw. Alright, and I can go through now and I can independently change those. Let's go ahead and grab my direct selection, kind of bring that point in a little bit. Because it is behind the beak, you're not really seeing that happen. Let's go ahead and bring this down just a little bit more. And whoa, his neck got really messed up, didn't it? So I'm going to go right out here to my, right here, and let's drag that handle, go up with it just a little tiny bit. So it looks like he actually has a neck. And let's switch back out of that one. Yes, he is the craziest looking goose swan I've ever played with. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is go into our layers. We want to turn our wing on. So we're going to go ahead and get our wing. And we want to change it just a little bit. So we're going to grab our direct selection tool and grab that wing. We want to grab the path that is more of an oval. Let's grab our anchor point tool. And we're going to change this anchor point. So we're going to click here, and we're going to go ahead and grab our control and drag that path up here to the corner. So you get kind of a nice pointed wing, and that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect all. And it's not the most beautiful swan I've ever drawn, but it is a swan, and I can say I did it. So yay. You might want to go back through. You will. This could be one of the ones you decide to use in one of your publications. It's up to you as to how you're going to play with this one. So go ahead and do a file and package. Save. Actually, no. Yes, go ahead and package it. So what we'll do is do package. Let's throw it in our lesson 7 folder. Change my mind. We'll do it this way. Let's go into our revised tutorials. I'm going to go into Adobe Illustrator Classroom and Book, Lesson 7. I'm going to go ahead and select that folder. Instead of Swan folder, I'm just going to say PKG and say Package. I'm going to show my package. Alright, now if I look in my Lesson 7 folder, I should have that one that says Practice as well. I'm going to take that one that says Practice and move it into my Swan package folder. So now I should have 2 Illustrator folders, or 2 Illustrator files in that folder. Let's go ahead and go back and do a right click and do a send to compressed file. And that's the one you're going to go ahead and turn in for Chapter 7. Happy drawing!